It's Dave here from Amplify, and I am talking to Scott Little. I'm not sure he's little. Bihlman, is it? Or how do we say that, Scott?
You're doing really good with that. It's Bihlman. Yeah.
As in Bihlman. Okay. So, just before we start I know you're into motorcycles and stuff like that. And my niece and her partner have this business called Illustrious, which is about motorcycle equipment and different stuff. So I'm going to have to get you a shirt and send it across. So
Oh,
at
love it.
the end of this, you have to share. You have to share where we send something to, and we'll send you a shirt to wear.
Absolutely. I'll post it for sure. Yeah, man.
Now, okay. Have you always wanted to be an artist, like a music artist? When did you get the songwriting bug?
Um, I got it kind of late. I got it when I was like 14. My growing up, there was a lot of sports involved in hunting and fishing. My dad was a really big outdoorsman and stuff. And he listened to a lot of mostly outlaw country and things. But it really came upon me when I was like 14. I started messing with guitar and drums and all that and everything. And my mom got me a cheap guitar, and I started writing songs right away. Were they any good? I don't think so. But I started writing right away, and this was back. I grew up in the MTV years, and I literally could see what these guys were doing on MTV. Not the solos and stuff, but the chords and things. And I started mimicking them. Same on drums and everything, and it took over my life. So no, I wouldn't say that I ever made the conscious decision to be an artist.
It just
You get
happened.
called to it, man. You get called to it, and you're addicted. And it's what motivates your whole life, and you modify your life around the art. Relationships and where you live and the vehicles you have and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's of your life. So I never made a conscious effort to do it, but it's, people say it's a calling. I sometimes think it's a curse. Tell you the truth.
Just just digressing, because most of my interviews are conversations, but just digressing. My father was from Montrose in Colorado, so when I went over there a long time ago, or many times, his his the older sister's husband. You talk about hunting and fishing. He'd take you somewhere, and you'd have to go drive somewhere, walk somewhere, and it'd take you, a long time to get to where his spot was. But when you got there, you wouldn't have to worry about a fishing pole or anything. They'd just jump in the boat, And this is what when you say hunting and fishing, I'm sure you probably had a similar experience where, when people think about hunting and fishing, they might think about, guns and big animals and all this sort of stuff. But over in America, it's like second nature. And when they do it properly. So I heard that and I thought, aha, that sounds pretty cool. Okay. Your journey, Emmy Award winning musician, songwriter, actor, based in LA, spiritual practice. That's pretty cool. Motorcycles, relentless dedication. So, since you've started down this path of entertaining, tell us a little bit about how that's unfolded.
Well, I got the bug, as you would say. And I had because sports was such a big thing, I actually had a full ride to Michigan State University for
Really,
football.
that's
Yeah.
huge.
And yeah, it was big. And
Where'd you play?
I played outside linebacker.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, and it was good, but I turned down the scholarship and I went to Musicians Institute instead. My dad was not too happy with that,
Of
but
course, the money difference is huge.
yeah. And the other thing too is that I didn't think I would ever go pro really because I broke my tendon in my finger
Okay.
here. I had to get surgery. My knee was kind of messed up, and it's like after 4 years of like Big Ten football,
Yeah.
I don't think I'd made it to the pros other than being crippled. So, and music was really take over my life. So went to Musicians Institute. My brother went as well as a guitar player. He's a great guitar player. And we graduated from there, did the whole Sunset Strip thing, trying to get a record deal. Couldn't get a record deal, really. I mean, it was all hair bands and all that kind of stuff, and wasn't what we were into. So we moved back to Chicago.
The Windy
And
City.
that's where we've always been steepy in the blues. And we got recognized for being, white dudes that could really play the blues. So we started back in. We had our own band, the Bihlman Brothers, which had a really good run. We were out with ZZ Top and Ted Nugent. We did festivals. We toured Europe.
Yeah, cool.
And then our music, we got signed with Warner Chappell. I'm kind of jumping ahead. We got signed with Warner Chappell, and that's how we got a lot of music placements and things like that. And that's where the awards came from and things. But in the beginning, back in Chicago, the blues guys, everybody from, Sun Seals to Lonnie Brooks to Coco Taylor to Buddy Guy,
Yeah.
Sugar Blue, we just had a really great reputation. I actually got to record, my brother and I recorded with Sun Seals on his last record, and I played the White House with him. So I got to do, the White House, big gigs.
With who? With Obama?
Man, I was 21, and it was Clinton.
Bush. Clinton.
It was Clinton's last term.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, the singer-songwriter blues guy. I've been around, a bit, and but it was great. I mean, it was an incredible experience. I never planned on writing a memoir, but B13 out of Canada asked me to write a memoir, so I am. It's pretty cool, and I get to reflect back on these memories. But it was.
I think heavy. You talk about spiritual. I think consciously there's a moment in collaboration with it, and that's all that exists in your whole life. One moment followed by another moment, followed by another moment. And without the descriptions, spirituality is really about removing the description out of things and just living, I suppose, whatever you'd call it. There is description, obviously, compassion or love or whatever you do, and you just turn up to whatever you turn up to, and you just do what you do. So in my view, there's a memoir in everyone, and it's interesting. It's just that most of the time we don't think of ourselves, and especially as we get more conscious, I think we become more humble because we see how much there is that we're not a part of, how big this place is, and how much is taking place, because that's what presence is, and so we sort of pull ourselves back. But really, I think the opposite is necessary in some ways. If you've got the ability to lead. Because there's a whole world here that needs someone to follow. And if they don't have someone to follow, someone like Trump enables them to follow something, and it's not a real good thing. So I'll be interested in reading your memoir when it comes out.
Yeah, great. Yeah, it's very Zen oriented, very Zen oriented. I have just so much. Sadhguru's been huge. Osho's been huge.
Yep.
I'm a major fan and of Alan Watts.
Yeah.
And everything. And working with compassion, patience, and simplicity. We come here with nothing, we leave here with nothing. Yeah. And it's really been a lifesaver.
Yeah, I agree.
These studies have gotten me through so much great things, and I really feel my experiences in my life have been so much more golden than it wouldn't have.
Of course. Yeah. That's the thing. I see so many people committing suicide all the time, especially in the entertainment field, because they've had it and they lose it or something, or other, they lose who they are. And it's so unnecessary because there's so much in every moment in everyone's life, no matter where you are. Pain's inevitable, suffering's optional, and that suffering is more a choice.
So Marcus Aurelius there, sir.
Well, I think the other thing I was going to say to you too, which I think I would say is informative, is there's an unconscious incompetence moves to conscious incompetence, moves to conscious moves to conscious incompetence, moves to conscious competence, moves to unconscious competence. And in that evolution, you go from, unconsciously being a part of this conditioning to understanding that I'm not, depression and searching and all this sort of stuff to practicing something or other. And I think the full step is understanding that all wisdom comes from you, not from anyone else. So you see other people and then you understand that to actually see their wisdom, you have to have the wisdom inside you to identify it. So it must have been in you before you saw it. And once you understand that, then you can go out there and fully share. That's the leading part. I think that our purpose is to serve. And I think that that's the part that once you understand that you're doing it not from an egoic point of view or for even for that comfort or whatever, even though comfort is an outcome, you're doing it because basically that's the food that really feeds you. I think, in my view, anyway.
100%, 100% correct.
This is an interview of you, by the way. I shouldn't be talking as much as I am.
Great conversation. I love hearing about it.
How would you describe your sound?
Excuse me. I well, you know, I have a lot of influences, and I played with a lot of. I mean, I've done everything from the heavy blues thing to the blues rock thing. I worked with Jelly Roll and John Fogerty. Gangster rap, Mr. Fogerty, at that level and things, and on and on. So labels kind of get pissed with me. Like they're like, "Hey, man, what exactly? What do I call my thing?"
Exactly.
I'd singer songwriter. I mean, I write about the human condition, and I'd singer songwriter, and I probably take too much from some things. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's all over. Now that the record is together, I've had some people come back and go, "Wow! I mean, I can't." I love this one song you did, but then you go into this major blues thing, or then you go into this, I covered a David Gilmour song, "There's No Way Out of Here." On my records, I like to cover maybe like one song. My other record, it was on Metalville out of Germany. I did "Straight Time" by Springsteen. It's a kind of a B-side off Ghost of Tom Joad, and so it bounces around. So, but I would be, if anybody asked me, it's a singer songwriter record, probably Americana, in the vein of like Petty meets Springsteen or something. With
Okay. Has it always bounced around, or has it evolved? Has it moved, and it keeps moving in a direction?
It's kind of always bounced around, and on the blues thing, because I've done so many blues projects, I've done so many blues rock projects, stuff like that, and you stay within the wheelhouse with the band and the artist you're working with, et cetera, et cetera.
Sure.
My thing, it's kind of like I'm very influenced. Again, I've been around a while, so I've been very influenced by Peter Gabriel,
Yep.
Sting.
Yep.
You know
Yep.
what these guys put out.
Yep.
And
Yep.
also as a technician, especially on drums, I was a huge Rush fan.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Get the prog thing in there, so I got to tone down my stuff by the time I record it. But it's always been a bit scattered. But I don't think it's
No,
I'm
it's
a Latin thing, then a jazz thing, then a
no,
prog.
no. So how does the Warner stuff affect it? How does the placement stuff affect it, or is it completely something separate? Like that's a made to measure sort of thing, whereas your music is more your creative sort of urge.
Good question. That is, they actually dig it. They like that it's so diverse because, hey, we're looking for a Starsky and Hutch kind of chase scene here, and you got anything like that? Or we're looking for a romantic instrumental thing here. We're looking for a dark thing here. And I always put one or two instrumentals on my records specifically set up for sync.
Right.
And, you're not in any category when it comes to sync, man.
No.
They'll take anything if they're looking for it and stuff, and it's like Nick Cave. I don't know if you're familiar with Nick
No,
Cave.
of course. Superstar.
Yeah, the stuff that he
He's
does.
ours.
What's that?
He's ours. He's Australian. How can you not
Yeah.
know Nick Cave?
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's
Um,
sensational.
all right, so Nick Cave and the stuff he does with Warren
Yeah, yeah,
Ellis.
yeah, 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 yeah. Warren. Yeah, yeah,
Man,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, that stuff all day long. And I got to do a ton of sessions and worked very closely with Bruce Robb at Cherokee Studios here in Los Angeles for years,
Yeah.
and done so many um, soundtracks together and things. Back in a long time ago, I had 8 songs with him on a movie called Love and Dancing with Betty White was in it and
Yep.
Billy,
Yep.
and it was fun because we created that on the spot. But it's always really good with publishing deals and things like that to have a diverse catalog.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And of course sometimes music can be a hard earn. So if you get your earn somewhere else, you can afford to be continue to be creative, and especially when labels want you to do something particularly that you don't want to do, you can sort of say, I'm not doing that. So that's a pretty strong place you can be in, which is cool. Okay, Heavy Head. Tell us about Heavy Head. That come out, and it came out last week or just over a week ago. What's that all about? Give us a bit of a rundown.
Um, yeah, it's
Sorry, Heavy Head's your new album, so I should tell people they don't realise.
yeah, Heavy Head's new album, and I got away from my old record label and got hooked up with V13 out of Canada. They're really great folks, and the industry has changed so much with physical copies and everything like that and stuff. So it's kind of weird putting out a record and not having like physical,
Yeah,
because there's
vinyl.
it's really kind of nuts. I guess they are going to do physical when I start touring and things, but Heavy Head was um, it's a record I put together with a lot of human condition in it, and especially my human condition because I went through a period of time that was a bit dark in the land of I recently well, she's 9 now, but I had a daughter,
Yeah,
and the mother was very difficult with that.
yeah,
So I found myself in um, different avenues I was not familiar with. The spirituality, the Zen, and everything, priceless with all that stuff.
yeah,
But the thing was I never knew anything about having to get lawyers really, other than
yeah,
entertainment lawyers.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Not a
yeah.
legal back, trying to see my kid and stuff. So I guess that overtone has hit the record because people that know my other work, they're like, wow, it's a little bit darker.
Yeah.
But the track about Heavy Head, which it's one of my favorite songs on the record. There's a beautiful cello on it, and it's really Floydian, Pink Floyd tinge to it. But that's about a guy that jumps into the world with doing everything right. Going to school and going to college, and getting that and getting a
Yep.
wife,
Yep.
working stuff. And by the end of the song, he's broke and got a divorce and everything like
Yep.
that. And trying to not lose it. So
Yep.
I talk about Buddha, I talk about Jesus, I talk about Lao Tzu.
Yep.
Alan Watts is in the thing, so it's cool one for me. I really dig that song for
Cool. 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 What are the signature tracks? What would you if you said if I've never heard first of all, does your brother play on it?
no. My brother and I have taken a hiatus.
Okay, enough said. So, what are the tracks? If you said to me, if I said to you, I want to find out who you are, I've got 10 minutes. I can listen to 2 tracks or 3 tracks. Which tracks would you direct me to?
I'd say Ghost on the Corner is is a really good one if you want to get into like the singer-songwriting thing on some different levels. There's some other flavors in there. Heavy Head for sure, as just like where I'm coming from.
Yep.
Um, and I'm trying to think about the other
Well,
tracks.
there's a couple. That's enough.
Yeah,
We'll
either.
we'll, we'll listen to the rest. as well. Uh, are you touring the album?
Well, I am between booking agents right now. I had a guy lined up, and he was doing pretty good, but um, it came from a great source and an artist that recommended. But he's 86, and he's not a great guy, everything like that. But it takes a lot of energy to get it going,
I
something like
got
that.
it. I got it. I got it. I got it. So,
Yeah.
what events are you doing? What are you looking forward to at the moment? Have you got any events coming up?
Yeah, I've got a House of Blues show in Las Vegas. They're still working on the contract with that. It's supposed to be in October, and then there's a few events right around Las Vegas area that I'll be doing stuff like that. That's very showcased in that regard. I'd like to get back into Chicago, Indiana, the Midwest, because I still get airplay there
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
on that side, but um, I'd love to get to Australia.
Well, it's a long way, but you'll probably find that the fans are pretty thick. They like their music down here. Absolutely. If you could perform with any music artist, alive or dead, who would you choose? Why?
To write with or like open up for, or what do you mean?
To perform with, I would say. It's like one of those situations where you think about Freddie, Wembley, Live Aid, Half Mic, Radio Gaga. Imagine being on stage in that sort of scenario, or it could be anything, could be any event.
I would say without a doubt, it would be Springsteen.
Oh, of course, what a
Yeah.
superstar. He
Yeah.
does. He still does 4 hours. He
I
just
know.
he just turns up and does 4 hours,
He's
and
a machine.
a machine, an absolute machine. But you see, I often say to people, if you want a career, just look at. I think about people like Sarah Bareilles, Yellow Brick Road, Black Darkened Hall, or Prince. He did, the intro into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame
Oh
when
yeah.
Jeff
Or
Lynne, and there were four of them on stage. They didn't know Prince was even turning up, and he turned up on the side stage. And then at the end of, they were going for about 3 minutes, and he did this minute or 2 minute riff, which was unbelievable. And then he sort of picked the guitar up and he just threw the guitar into the crowd and walked off. And he
it's
must
one
have
of
had a
the craziest.
guitar tech there. But I'm just saying, you want a career, you can do that once, you got a career. Because
Yeah.
basically that's what you're about. And I think that, when I think about you and what you're doing, what you're talking about, the whole evolution of you is you. The whole what you've done, where you've been, darkness, light, connections and all that sort of stuff. This is like the story, a bit like your memoir. It's the story. And so no piece of it is any more important than any other piece. And probably some of the darker times when you look back on them are probably more pivotal than some of the lighter times because of what they did and how they created change and how you can sort of be an inspiration to your daughter rather than, someone that's fighting her mum, that sort of situation. And all these things you've got to learn along the way. And so music's exactly the same, and what you're playing and what you're writing and what you're creating and all that sort of stuff. So I often think that people in today's world, you're talking about physical product, they get too caught up in social media and trying to get numbers and trying to, and it's almost the devil. If you're religious, it's you're sort of feeding the devil, and you got to get back to just going out and finding one fan and just converting that fan into a follower. And
Yes.
if you can keep doing that, you're going to have a career because all those fans will keep supporting you.
Absolutely. That's absolutely it. And a lot of the conversations are. What's really weird is that we've always had physical. It was always merchandise. It was always you got paid for the gig. You
Yeah,
had merch,
yeah,
meet and greet and that kind of stuff or whatever. And now, I mean, all the conversations. I don't care if you're talking to booking agents or if you're talking to labels or anybody. How many followers you got? How many followers you
yeah,
got? And it's like, where is the cheese? I don't
exactly.
know. My Instagram is good. If anybody wants to check, I stay with my Instagram really well. I've got almost 50,000 followers over there, which is cool. But the other numbers aren't really that great. I mean,
I
and
don't. I think the most important thing you can understand is that moment and your collaboration with it, and everything else is a story. And so, if you've got to detach from numbers and all that sort of stuff, and just do what you want to do. Most people spend most of their life working towards enjoying a couple of percent of it. And so they get mortgages and all this sort of stuff, and that's the last thing you want to do. So I know that it's you've got to die to be reborn, and so in that process you've got to well, even JC, 40 days in the desert and all this sort of stuff. You've got to and what I want to try and create, which I'm going to try and do, is you've got to understand that support's really the way through. And so there are people that can help support, and there's a lot of people around the world that can help support, and that support is really a lot better than going to a Beyond Blue when you're about to commit suicide. It's a bit late. So I think that everyone has the potential to do that, and you obviously have the potential to do that because you've got followers and you've got a career and you've got people that want to turn up and hear you. So man, I've got to shut up.
it's it's all about staying in the game.
It
Uh,
is. It's all about.
Lucky, I got to tell you, I've been very lucky. I've done this for so long. I've never had a day job or anything. I've always gotten to go. I've got to go all over the world. I've got to work with incredible artists. I've got to do cool things. Got to win some awards. I'm just saying that I am very grateful for the things that I have done because I tell you, man, I can't tell you how many people that I've seen that are more talented than me fall under the wheels of this
Yeah,
thing.
that's a pretty common thing. What's the best thing about performing to a live audience?
The best thing, well, the best thing is if you have actually get a big. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's a big crowd or a little crowd or whatever. If they, when they sing the lyrics back to you,
Yeah, that's king.
that that'll never change. I mean, it's or you'll be playing somewhere. You know, I was just in Paris and things record over there, stuff like that, and then you're playing, and then just that one person in the back is actually mouthing your lyrics. Even if it's one person,
And you're
man.
half a world away. Yeah, exactly. Impact. But
Yeah,
I think that that's all part of it. Just to digress just for a second, that's all part of it because it's really what is your purpose, and it really can be to influence one person, your 9-year-old or anybody. Basically, if you're here and you're doing that's the work. That's service. Doesn't have to be a million people. Okay, so let's finish with some quick fires. What's the craziest thing you've ever done that you can talk about?
wow, no kidding, right? Craziest thing I ever have ever done. Well, I don't know. This wasn't dangerous. I just off the top of my head. I mean, believe me, about a dozen things popped up in my head.
Yeah, imagine.
Craziest thing I ever did in the entertainment business, I would say, is we were back in Sun Seals, and he didn't want to do a European tour, but they said, "Listen, man, you guys just fly over for lunch." So we flew to Paris and had lunch and see if Sun would have done it. So we didn't know if we were going to do the tour or not.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah, so we just like, hey man, want to go to Paris for lunch? Maybe we'll do the tour. Maybe we won't. And it did wind up happening, but he didn't come over for like 2 or 3 days. But yeah, that's what we did. We jumped on a plane and went over that. But I've got other crazy stories, so I can tell you off air.
Another day. What's the one topic you can talk about for hours?
Well, oh, absolutely, it would be Zen.
Cool. What
And that's all that stuff. Absolutely, yeah.
What's the thing you like most about yourself?
Oh, um, I'm a risk taker, really. I mean, I've said yes to most things, and I like that about me. That
I think it'll
Those-
be. I think it's courage, because basically it takes courage to be, to discuss and to be a part of a conscious sort of process. Because
Absolutely.
basically a lot of people are looking for, crypto and OnlyFans and, some quick way to sort of, get a payoff. And that's exactly the worst thing that you can can do, because it sort of takes you further off track. And so it takes courage to sort of stop when the force is sort of saying go, and you're
Yeah.
saying no, let's just stop and, sort of take this in. So I think that's pretty cool. Um, Okay, finally, let's do some all-time or current favorites. Favorite album?
Favorite album. Um, I would have to say Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd.
Great album. What a great album. What a
A close one next to that. I know you didn't ask me this, but it would be the Buena Vista Social Club.
another great album.
Yeah, those two. They're always in my wheelhouse, man. Always. I mean, always.
Favorite artist?
Springsteen.
Hey, the boss. Favorite movie?
I will say that I'm very fond of Lonesome Dove.
Really?
Yeah, which was not even a movie.
No.
Uh, it was actually like made for television. But yeah, Lonesome Dove, and then going way back, Rocky, probably the first Rocky. But yeah, Lonesome Dove.
Favorite place to visit?
Ah, well, I guess I could say my mom, right? Because I'm a good boy with my mom. I love my mom. But I would say I've had some great experiences. France, I really like France. I was just in Paris, and I was in
Yeah,
Paris.
Paris. Country France is fantastic. Paris is a bit of a, especially if you're a tourist, you sort of turn up and say, pardonnez-moi, je travaille, and they just close the door and take off. They've got no interest in trying to work with you. Favorite venue to play?
Favorite venue to play is probably I really dig the House of Blueses. Their stages, you get they're not overly huge and they're not overly small, but they've always decorated nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like the one in Chicago, it's almost like you're walking into like this incredible chapel or something. So I dig that. Yeah,
Favorite food?
man, you're asking some tough ones.
I know.
Uh, I guess at the end of the day, I like a good steak.
A good steak. I thought you'd say Mexican. Favorite drink?
Dirty water.
Dirty
Whis-
water. What's dirty water?
It's about 3/4 whiskey and the rest water with a big giant ice cube.
3/4. That's 75% whiskey and the rest water, and you call it dirty water.
Dirty water.
I would
Yeah.
say it's just diluted whiskey, probably. Favorite person in history, apart from me.
Right. You beat me to it.
I know, I know, I know.
Favorite person in history. I gotta say Alan Watts.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Favorite. This is the last one of this series. Favorite tattoo. I see you got plenty of tattoos there.
That too.
Are they recent or are they early or are they continuous?
I got one here and one here. Got for my mom over here and stuff like that. But I've done a whole sleeve. Same artist out of Chicago, Michael. He's incredible. Chicago tattoo.
It looks great. How much of the sleeve did you do at the same time?
Wow, you asked great questions. I'll tell you this, because I'm a traveling musician, I was in Chicago, but I couldn't stay there for that long. I was there for like 4 days. The first time I sat in a chair was over 10 hours.
Fuck, that's
Like from
painful.
all the way up, all the way down, and then finished, and then I went in for some touch-up. So that was
What's the most painful part of the arm?
I thought it was the elbow. Yeah, the elbow, man. When they get around there and stuff like that, that's really, really uh but it is it's an interesting thing getting tattoos because the pain that you get it builds, finally at the end. It starts off like a little mosquito, and then it ends like some big guy smoking a cigar, just burning you all the time. But I can see how people could get addicted to tattoos. I don't consider myself one of them, but when people there's been times that I've gotten really, I still, even with Zen and everything like that, I can get frustrated. And I just a situation of like what it is like that. And it's like, I want to go get a tattoo because you almost enjoy that pain. It's strange. It's very.
That's it, man. We'll have to catch up for another chat because there's lots more that I'd like to ask you about. I'd like to ask you about the acting too, because the acting's a different vehicle to the music, and all of it informs everything because basically you live a life, you write from what you experience, and you've got a lot of different things that you experience, and like you say, especially the darkness, usually you're not out of the darkness when you're looking at other people. In other words, because basically you're still looking at other people. And so there are going to be fallbacks and you're going to be in and out of darkness, in my view. The time you come out of the darkness more so is when you're fully observant. And so basically what you are is you understand that every step that you take is your life, not observing the steps that other people take. So when you're watching Tolly or you're watching you're doing any of this sort of stuff where you're taking it in, their first advice I would say all the time is just do you. Don't listen
Yes.
to me, just do you, because everything you need to learn, you'll find from you. I always suggest to people that the best thing that they can do is record themselves and play back their recording, because most of everything that takes place, they talk about. I hate this, I hate that, I hate this, I don't like, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. And then in the cool light of day, if they listen to that, they'd say, why did I say that? Why did I say that? I don't really hate that, and that's not really scary, and all this sort of stuff. And they start to break down that sort of belief that they have all these things taking place. And so, but it's the reason support's important in my view is it's like a torch. Someone turns up with a torch, you can make your way through the house. If no one's there with the torch, you walk into walls and you don't know which room's which and all this sort of stuff. And so eventually, if you've had the torch enough and you work out how you're going to get light, you start to create your own light. And then basically, once you know how to create light, well, then you can be there for someone else, helping them to create light. So you're not giving them answers, you're just giving them light so they can find their own answers. And they've got to find their own answers. That's the hard part. The hard
That,
part is no one has your answer. They've just got their answer, and you can listen to it and say that makes sense, but you've got to translate it into your vehicle. And so,
absolutely.
it'd be good to work that out. I'll get onto your publicity or whatever and work out how we get this shirt to you too, because it's a pretty cool
Yeah.
shirt, and you can ride it when you're on the cycle.
Yes, and I'll definitely plug it for sure, and I would love that. Just on the acting thing for a second, it's no really big deal, but I knew the production people on Spider-Man Noir
Yeah,
that's on right now. So I'm the big gangster dude in episode 3, I think it is, on the subway down there. So if you want to see me, I'm
there you
floating.
go. There you go. How do you do that? I mean, acting is just a complete different vehicle because
Yeah,
acting is fucking, yeah, especially the start. There's so much knockback, so much of it that they
yeah,
they almost they almost kill anyone before they get to anywhere. And then it's and it's because it's all business. It's a bit like a label. You don't generally have good relationships with any label because they're all businesses, and basically, if you're succeeding, they're paying you something and they're giving you something. If you're not succeeding, they get rid of you in 2 seconds. And so,
yeah. It's really rough, and not only that, I've yet had with the contracts that I've had, and also with bands that I've had, major labels, and they just never. The contract says one thing, and they just do this other thing.
yeah,
I mean,
that's
it's
right.
like this is they breach contracts as soon as you sign the son of a
It's
bitch.
just mate, if Taylor Swift has to come out and redo all her music and call it "This is Taylor Swift," Well, if she can't get a good deal, and I think George Michael had to spend 2 years not performing at all because he wasn't prepared to, fulfill his shitty contract. There's stories like that all the way everywhere, and it continues today. They're all look at streaming. Streaming's about the most corrupt thing that's ever occurred, where people play, they play your music a million times and you get, $3.80 or something like that. I mean, it's just a corrupt process where the big guys have worked out how they can make money at the expense of the small guys.
Well, not to go down a rabbit hole with that, but there needs to be a real strike,
Yeah.
like a real strike, where it's like, hey man, we're just not doing
Well,
streaming anymore.
a revolution. This is what I was saying. I was saying if you understood, if the floor understood how much power they had, then the top would topple overnight
Yeah,
because the top only exists as a result of the floor. But they broke down. If you really get into it, you know, in the 100 years ago, we were in the hall with the mayor, and so he knew 100 people. And so when someone said this isn't working, get onto that, Harry, he had 100 people breathing down his neck. And so they
right.
invented TV because what TV did was it took people out of the hall and it took them into the lounge room. So now the power sort of dissipates. So now the guy that's the mayor, he doesn't have to deal with the people breathing down his neck. And we've gone even further than that now. Now we've taken people from the lounge room, where at least they're with the family, to the bedroom where they've got a phone and they're on their own. So they think they have no power whatsoever.
Yeah,
And the exact opposite is true. And so when you say strike, people need to understand that what you need to do is represent. So we had a couple of artists out here that we do a lot of shoot. We probably do more live music photography than anyone anywhere. And so we do a lot of shooting. And they sort of say, if you're going to shoot this event, some artists, we want high res photos so that we can do whatever we want with them for as long as we want and blah, blah, blah. We say, fuck off. That's theft. What are you talking
yeah,
about? Fuck off. And so, but they think that because they've got an ego or following, that they can go out and they can do dishonest stuff, which is basically what every bloody company does. Every
yeah,
major company. Look at these billionaires and fucking trillionaires. They're all bloody crooks.
yes, 100%.
Facebook, you can't talk to someone at Facebook. You can't talk to someone at Instagram, and their business as big as businesses in the world, and they have no customer service.
Well,
And,
we're getting the royal pie in the face with our president over here right now, man.
ugh,
This son
ugh.
of a bitch.
Uh, when you talk about consciousness and all that, just look at the one thing that they did with USAID, where they're losing, 100,000, 200,000, black youngsters in Africa dying as a result of stopping USAID because they're not getting AIDS or AIDS medicine or food.
Yeah,
And just that one thing alone would tell you that this is just terrible. But everyone doesn't stand up and sort of say, we've got to look after those kids. They sort of say, well, they're black kids, they're not in our country, so what do we have to worry about? And this is the thing when we talk about Zen and all that. Once you fully understand that the quantum is that we're all connected, so if anyone in the place is hungry, I'm hungry. Or if
yes,
anyone's not happy, I'm not happy. And if once you understand that, then harmony can come on back. Then you won't have high prices for bloody properties or whatever, because everyone will be trying to make sure that everyone's got a place to live.
yep. That's 100%. 100%.
Sorry, man. Again, one of the things I would say about this interview, though, it's gone on for too long, but in my view, your audience wants to understand who you are. And so basically they'll follow what you do, but if you want them to be baked in, they've got to know who you are.
Yeah,
And then they
that's
get baked in.
yeah,
Then they'll be
that's
baked in and follow whatever. They know who the boss is 100%. upside
Right.
down, left, right, etc. Because he's there. He's the same. He's been the same forever, and he tells people that he's not happy with Trump and all this sort of stuff. He puts himself out there at the risk of bloody labels and all this sort of stuff all the time. He's authentic, and so this interview, if it does nothing else, will show some of your audience one side of you that's a little bit, that's open.
Sounds great.
And
I
and
love it.
and and from that perspective, and I'll finish here, but from that perspective, my view is that you get one person and you convert them into an advertiser, and that's the way you do that time and time and time again. And the exponential benefit of that is you'll have a following that turns up, that pays, that wants to be a part of something, that listens to everything for an hour, not for 10 seconds, and waits to see if you're gonna swear, or you got TNA or whatever the situation is. And that's the hard part, that people don't, because they're getting fed from the top what you need, and the top is infected.
Yes.
But they're the people that have the ability to get to you all the time because they own the platforms. And
Yep.
that's what we've got to do, the harder work of getting from the bottom and work from the bottom up.
Right.
Anyhow. I'll die
Absolutely.
one day. Hopefully, I won't be here to carry on the way I carry on, man. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the conversation, and I really appreciate. I think part of when I have a conversation with someone, if I'm able to talk, uh, that's for me, that's gold, because someone's allowed me that. We've had a conversation. So
Yeah.
for me, I think that that's a great thing, and I appreciate the fact. So if you've got a
I,
skill, but if you've
I,
got to think
I
about
really,
that,
yeah.
think about that though a little bit. You've got a skill to be able to open someone up to communicate,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think that that's when you talk about Zen, part of it. That's part of the service of you turning up and harmonizing the world. So your music is a big part of that, obviously, because that's you being you.
Yeah.
But listening is also a big part of that,
Absolutely.
because that's also you being you on a different level.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Good on you, man. Thank you very much. Like I say,
Yeah.
I'll be in touch. And when you do stuff, we can do some promo for it and all that sort of gear.
All right. Sounds great, man. It's been a pleasure. It's been a
Yes.
pleasure, my friend.
Same here, same here, same here. You take care.
Okay.
Look after yourself. All the best.
You too, my friend.